happened to our family back in September of '01. I'm here tonight to ask for your help. A little over a month ago, when I saw in the papers that the northern pipeline route was being potentially abandoned, I got to say at my house I was a little overjoyed because our farm had been on the previous route for this pipeline. When I woke up yesterday morning and I saw the new routing, I was more than shocked and saddened to see what was going to happen to our farm. As you know, we have a proud tradition in our family of preserving open space. My brother's farm up on Marsh Hill is preserved for eternity. It's open space. And after his untimely death, I worked with Congressman Meehan and Senator Kennedy to secure funds to preserve that 33 acres across from my dad's farm as permanent open space. But I got to tell you, the one farm that we have in the family that we never expected to have to fight to save and threaten from any type of development is the farm that's been in our family since 1948 when my dad left the Army Air Corps. And that's a little over 100 acres on Route 113. And I would say on most nights, if you went there, I wouldn't recommend it tonight. But if you went to my dad's farm tonight and stood there, you can't see any lights. You have 100 acres of rolling hay fields and stone walls lined with trees. And if you stand there, you cannot see any neighbors. And it's just absolutely beautiful. I'll brag. I think it's one of the more picturesque things along Route 113. And we'd like to see it stay that way. If this proposed route, which is a bigger disaster than the previous one, it goes across our farm for almost 4,300 linear feet. With a 100-foot easement, you're looking at 15 acres being clear-cut. So those no lights that you would not see tonight, if you were then up at St. Francis Church, you would see the Dunkin' Donuts all the way down to Fox Ave, nearly 2 miles away. Not only does it go through our farm, but I understand when these pipelines go next to a power line, they don't go under the power line, they go next to it. So the power line that goes behind our farm, which also just abuts us, they would go along that. So there's another 1,500 feet of all woodlot that would be cut out of there. And that's obviously something that we do not want to see happen. So I knew Rich was coming tonight to provide a detail of the routing and the impacts of all the town. I came tonight strictly to say the impact on one particular individual. And there's going to be a lot of individuals involved. So I just wanted to make my voice spoken early. I'm not going to list all the reasons I oppose this pipeline because we would be here till tomorrow morning. And I just want to go on record as being opposed to this. And I am hoping that this board can help us. And I'm asking you to take prompt and strong action in opposition to this proposed pipeline. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. So the coalition, the Northeast Municipal Gas Pipeline Coalition, I think actually we were the ones that suggested that we do that. And so when I brought it to the board, we did. And I want to assure you that there are people working statewide. I'd love to have you come and join us. Actually, our next meeting for the Pipeline Coalition is January 5th in Dracut. At 10 o'clock, and we're going to use this room. Is that what we decided? So I'd love to have you join us. So just so the residents know, we will. What has happened is the coalition has rotated through host towns or member towns, and so Glenn and I offered to let Dracut host it in January. So January 5th, 10 o'clock, we'll be here. A couple of things you highlighted. I don't want to make you stand if you want to sit down, but a couple of things that you just highlighted is exactly what we talked about yesterday at the coalition meeting, Rich, correct? In that there's sort of this myth that, again, the pipelines will go under existing power lines, and that's not the case. And just because of what Rich talked about, the currents and the issues, they do go aside. And what we also talked about yesterday was just the difference in environmental impact on wetlands from when you have over-the-head wires and then you're going next to it, deep trenching the very wetlands that the lines are above. So it's a very different set of impacts, and so I want to just tell people that the FERC process in and of itself is lengthy. We're in the very early stages to some degree, but I want to assure the residents that there are people, including the folks here, that are fighting very hard statewide to get information. And the fact that the line has moved to the north of us in New Hampshire is not necessarily guaranteed it will stay there. There is a chance that this could be a preferred route that they're saying, but they could go back to the route that they talked about just as easily as they went to the New Hampshire route. So, you know, we have to be very cognizant of that. And what we did learn at the coalition as well, Rich, and maybe you can expand a little bit if you remember this piece, is that the conservation commissions in the affected towns really need to be up to snuff, so to speak, because Article 97 in our Constitution, our Mass Constitution, requires a 2/3 vote from the legislature to enact any kinds of changes, correct? And so that piece of it has to be, the conservation commissions have to be very clear as to what's protected, what's preserved, have that documented, photographed in all the towns that are being affected. Does that sound right? Okay. And what was the takeaway from yesterday aside from that? Anything else? Melissa? Remember anything else, Brian?
Well, you covered, and I just want to reemphasize, people who are on the old route still need to be alert and be concerned because it could go back to being the other route. They said that they were going to notify the property owners affected by the new route in about a week. So they'll be getting their survey letters, and you do not have to let them survey your property. If you do want to, that's fine, but there's no reason that they should go on your property if you don't want them on there. So that's up to you. You will be approached for that. We have a new map from Northern Middlesex Council of Governments today. It came in late today. I was going to show it, but we switched computers. It shows the actual lots in Dracut that this goes through, such as the Ogonowski farm. We'll post that in the next day or two. We're also, you know, with the board's blessing, and also the contact information for FERC, which is at ERC, is for the website. If you Google that, and we'll have the docket number up, which is PF 14-22 with that website. And there's if you're more comfortable with regular mail, we have the mailing address. We're going to put that on the town website for people who want to send comments into FERC. I'd encourage them, because if they don't go there, they're not going to get the news, so they can write that way. We'll put that up on the website. So.
Glenn, so this is the information that Rich showed. This is based on the FERC submission yesterday.
Yesterday.
So it's pretty accurate. But I did notice on one of the slides that it said that the project is only 50% developed. Did you say that on one of the slides? So I get, one of your slides said that the information on where everything's going is only 50% completed. So I guess my next question is I guess we're not sure exactly, when are we going to be sure where the route is, I guess is the question.
When they file next September.
Next September.
They got
When and if they file.
When and if they file. And it's open for public comment now?
They're actually surveying like a 400-foot wide corridor, I believe, so if they do have to do shifts. So that's why even if you're not right on the line, they may want to survey your property. I believe it's a 400-foot wide swath that they're surveying.
It's called a survey.
Madam Chair, I think as a board now we need to take a stand and protect, especially Mr. Ogonowski's farm, because that's the main impact is going to be to his farm, and we have to do whatever we can to oppose this new route. We have to do something to be proactive instead of just informational gathering. What can we do? We need to do
So there's
something
two
as a board.
things, actually, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I was going to just segue into that. So there's 2 points of action that we can do. The FERC, let me just premise this by saying the FERC process in and of itself determines well, first of all, need for the pipeline is the basis of when FERC gives out approval. And the need isn't necessarily, and I'm trying to encapsulate what Beverly says, because she says it so well, the need is not, do we need the gas? The need is demonstrated by the fact that the Kinder Morgan and the pipeline companies have customers. So FERC goes in and says, okay, Kinder Morgan, show us that people are actually going to buy this gas that you're transmitting. That's what they determine the need is based on. They don't look at the whole picture. And we could talk a lot about all the stuff we talked about yesterday for 2 hours. We were in these meetings 2 or 3 hours, but they don't look at the whole picture. In other words, they don't look at the fact that Iroquois could expand. They don't look at the fact that Portland natural gas can expand. I know you don't remember if you guys all recall, Cynthia, make sure that our Conservation Commission is up to snuff and has all our conservation areas photographed, because if it does become a mitigation issue, then they are responsible for returning it to the place, basically where it was before they destroyed it. We also can do a non-binding resolution as a select board. So in other words, we can say, which many towns have done, and we may have to wait, Tammy, just to defer this piece when Mrs. Hughes is with us, so we have an entire board. But we can do a non-binding resolution as a board asking that Kinder Morgan not continue with the process. The other thing that we can do is, in conjunction with this process of expanding the electric lines, we can submit a letter from this board basically asking you to look at the expansion of the lines and how that would interact with a pipeline being present as well. So there are a couple of things we can do. Again, the non-binding resolution, I think we should, in fairness, wait for Mrs. Hughes to be able to join us and do that as an entire board. The letter for NEPA is due the 15th, right? Rich, the public comments are due?
I don't know if that's something that can be delegated to the staff, but if the board could do that, that would be
Well,
helpful.
if the board would do it, would approve it, I would be glad to, basically as a paragraph, ask them to look at the impacts of the expanded lines if a pipeline were to be positioned next to them. Basically, that would be the intent of the letter. So if the board feels comfortable with that, I would be glad to draft that with Shannon and get that to NEPA as a public comment with Jim and Shannon.
Why wouldn't we? I mean, we would like to know what the impact is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be the paragraph, basically, what, please look at the impact.
Sure.